this is gonna be my first vlog, and this is gonna be on my tonsillectomy or getting my tonsils removed. So to begin with, I used to smoke for a while, and that ended up leading to me having tonsil stones, which in the beginning I was really worried because everything said that it was like cancer or something, which it wasn't. Tonsil stones basically are like a pimple or a cyst that can form in the back of your throat, and they're really disgusting. And I had done some research, and I read that if you get your tonsils removed, that would resolve the problem. So I asked my family doctor about it, and the answer was no, you're not getting your tonsils removed. And about a year or so later, I got a different family doctor, so I brought that topic up again with this doctor, and he said the same thing. No, you can't have your tonsils removed. So I waited probably another year or so, and I decided that I was just gonna bypass them and go straight to a nose, ear, and throat specialist. And on my first visit, she told me that she would remove my tonsils, and she gave me a rundown on how the surgery would go, and she was very nice about it. She told me some of the horror stories that I'm sure everybody hears when they're looking into this surgery. It honestly isn't that bad in my experience. If you want a quick answer to this, she told me about how she had a Marine even come in, and he was like bawling his eyes out after the surgery, and it was not that bad. I don't know if I have higher pain tolerances than other people, but I mean, it wasn't bad. And I've had my wisdom teeth taken out as well. I had all 4 taken out at the same time, and that, in my opinion, was more painful than this was. And that still wasn't too bad. I have some notes over here, so if I'm looking over here, that's why. So anyways, I had to go for 3 visits to see that doctor after my first one. So I had to go after that for information on the surgery, what to expect, where to go, all of that. And she gave me, well, there's one piece of paper that I have. I'm gonna put a picture here. And then I also had a few other pieces of paper that I don't have, and I had to fill out some paperwork allowing them to do the surgery, and it was pretty easygoing visit. And the next one that I went to was my actual surgery, and then the one after that was the post-op visit, or the visit after my surgery, allowing me to go back to work and school and whatnot. Let me see. So one of the biggest reasons why doctors don't want to do this is because they say in adults that are I don't know, over 18, I suppose, they have a harder time recovering from this surgery, which I also don't think is true. I've met oddly enough, several people after I scheduled my visit that have all had the same surgery, and they all said the same thing. It wasn't as bad as people lead you to believe. And that's not to say that there aren't surgeries that go bad or there aren't complications that happen, but from what I've been hearing and my personal experience, it wasn't that bad. So I'm gonna go on to some of the tips that I was told. So one of the first things that you can do prior to your surgery is don't drink alcohol for about a week before your surgery. And this helps to prevent bleeding and other complications. On the day of my surgery, I got to the hospital at about 11:30, and I went into my surgery at about 1:55, so I waited for quite a while. I actually checked into the front desk and went back to get prepped within about 10 minutes, but I had to wait back there for quite a while. They give you a gown and they give you some socks, or at least where I went they did, and that's all you're supposed to wear. They didn't want you wearing like underwear or any of your personal clothing, and you're not allowed to keep your phone or anything. They give you they gave me a bag to put everything into, and then that stayed with my stuff. And then once I came to, I was able to get all my stuff and my clothing and whatnot. They let my mom come back with me, and my father had also come with us, so I had asked if he could come back, and they allowed that, but they said that generally they don't like to have more than one person with you. They gave me my IV before I went in for my surgery, and they actually didn't do it right, so I ended up getting a second one. I actually found that out once I got into the operating room, because they had given me some medications and whatnot, and I was like, I don't feel anything, and they're like, oh, well, this is probably why, because your IV wasn't working correctly. So yeah, so I got into the operating room, and I kind of like pushed myself onto the operating table from the bed that I was laying on. I crawled onto it. I don't know what they did when I was out, because I wasn't helping them. I don't know if they had like a blanket or something to lift me back onto my bed. They were all the nurses and the anesthesiologist and the actual doctor and everybody there were very nice. They were cracking jokes, and they tell me what to expect when they were giving me the medications, and what I could expect even before that. So they were very nice, and I thought they did good. So before you go back, they give you a medication that's supposed to kind of like numb you down, or almost like make you drunk, or feel intoxicated or something. It just kind of makes you not as anxious. And I don't know if that would affect your memory of going back, but I could clearly remember being back there up to getting my new IV and falling. I mean, I don't remember falling asleep, and that might be from the anesthesia or the other medications. So after that, I woke up. The time it took from me getting in there and to wake up was about an hour. So I went in at about 2 and I woke up around 3 o'clock. Or even sooner. Well, I guess it was a bit sooner than that because I think 3 o'clock's around when we left. It did not take very long. So once I came to, I asked for some ice water and ice for my throat, which didn't even really hurt. I was able to speak clearly. The doctors were able to understand what I was saying. I was under the impression that I wouldn't even be able to talk. It was gonna hurt that bad, which it didn't. And then I asked for my parents to come back. They came back. I put on my clothes and then we left. I mean, they pushed me out in a wheelchair. I wasn't able to walk like a long distance, but I was able to go from like my bed to the chair and from that to the vehicle and then into our house and whatnot. Fine. I actually felt pretty good. There wasn't much pain at all. The ice water that helped my throat, I mean, that felt good. The ice though, don't chew on it or crunch it. Like I just let it melt, and that seemed to help. If you're chewing on it and then swallowing it, that might cut that or tear it open, which you don't want. The anesthesia didn't make me talk in gibberish or make me say anything that I didn't intend to say. I mean, it wasn't like you see on YouTube where they're talking crazy and whatnot. It wasn't like that either. I got back to my house and I wanted to take a bath. This was about like 4 or 5 o'clock, and they have a bunch of these little stickers that they put on your chest, and it helps monitor your vitals and whatnot. I've learned from past experience that you should soak them in water, even if it's just like a washcloth. If you put that on there, it helps so it doesn't hurt as bad. It's just like tearing off like a duct tape or a band-aid or something. I mean, it's not gonna kill you, but it's more pleasant to do it with the hot water and whatnot. So that's why I decided I was gonna take a bath, and my parents were kind of against that because they didn't want me to like black out or something, but I was fine. And those stickers, they came off very easily. They don't hurt. One of the notes that I made at this point was that my throat didn't hurt at all. It just felt kind of weird. So again, I was on the medications that they had given me, so I wasn't feeling anything at that point. At about 6 o'clock, I started eating some soup. They were like really small noodles. They were like circular, like almost like SpaghettiOs. I tried to stay away from things like tomato sauce and whatnot for the first few days because I didn't want that acidic stuff getting in the back of my throat. Another thing that I'd been seeing a lot is that people eat baby food and stuff. You really don't need to do that. You can eat like applesauce, but I mean you don't need to eat that soft of foods. I mean soups and broths, and I mean normal soft food is fine to eat, or it was for me anyways. So that night, right before bed, they had prescribed me a codeine Tylenol prescription. I took that before bed, and I found that it didn't really do a whole lot. I mean, it wasn't like some super drug or something that made more of a difference than the Tylenol or the ibuprofen that I was taking. So I decided that I was just gonna use that as sparingly as I could, and then I took the Tylenol and ibuprofen. I also took a nausea medication for the first 3 to 4 nights. I had heard that you can get sick or feel like throwing up sometimes because it is in the back of your throat and it can just irritate your throat. So I asked them for that as well, and it didn't seem to do much, so I just took it at nighttime. Like I didn't feel sick during the day, so I was just taking that at night. Mornings I found were usually the most painful part of my day because I wasn't drinking lots of fluids and I wasn't eating sherbet or anything to kind of keep that cool and somewhat numb. I did, however, I found that I snored as well, which is also very painful. But I would take my medication exactly when I was supposed to. So for the first few nights, my mom and dad, they would come and help me take that. So like in the middle of the night, even, I would be taking my medications, but if you're not following that, that's where the pain might start coming in. I mean, once you get behind on that, it's kind of hard to catch up to not having that pain. I mean, if you're taking it before the pain starts, then it's not so bad. Eating foods were also fairly painful. I found that sherbet, ice pops, and like Gatorade water, Powerade with ice in them, they helped. Any sort of cold drinks like that, or juices. I had like apple juice a few times. That kind of hurt a little bit too, so I'd be careful with a lot of those drinks. Let me see. I also had ramen, and I'd like crush it up as good as I could, so it was like the smaller noodles. And I also had like chicken noodle soup. I tried the instant mashed potatoes. I found that they kind of hurt too, so I'd wait maybe until like a week out to do that. Mac and cheese, I found that was like one of the best meals. I didn't put ketchup on it though. I did probably a week out, but like I said, you don't want to like all the acid and whatnot getting on there, especially if you're not brushing your teeth a lot, because that was another big thing, is that you don't want to brush your teeth and hit the back of your throat. So for like the first 3 days, I didn't even brush my teeth, which is kind of gross because you get all like the sherbet and stuff building up on your teeth. But it's still something that you don't want to be doing unless you're capable to really think about it. And I mean, you don't want to open that wound. Ice cream I found wasn't very good. I found that sherbet was better. The ice cream I found made more saliva and like the mucus and whatnot, and it would make me cough and have more pain, so I found that I didn't really eat that much. The sherbet that I did get, I got the little cups of it, so I could just go to the refrigerator and grab one, and then I could eat that, and then I wouldn't have to mess with putting it into a bowl and whatnot. It was just it was pre-made. It was a little bit easier for me to do, or for my parents. I mean, the first few days they were helping me as well. So back to the Tylenol and ibuprofen. I was switching between the two of them every 4 hours. So the Tylenol helped with the pain, the ibuprofen helped with the swelling. And I found that after a few days that the syrup medicine actually hurt my throat, and it was more painful to swallow than just taking the pills, so I ended up switching to them. And if you do take the syrup medications, don't try and drink all of it at once, because I did that and it just went everywhere when I coughed it up, so that was not good. My camera cut out there. Anyways, I didn't lift any heavy objects. Again, I didn't drink or eat any ketchup, V8, lemonade, alcohol, other things that dried out my throat. I tried a drink that was similar to Ensure or Boost, and I found that really dried out my throat. I thought that it would be a good supplement for not eating as much as I was going to, and it was not a good replacement. It was just very painful, and it dried out my throat a lot, so I didn't take that. Also, I did not lose a lot of weight. Everybody told me that I was going to lose like 10 or 20 pounds because I wouldn't be eating a lot of food. You can still eat decent meals and not lose that weight. I mean, I'm fairly skinny, but I mean, I didn't lose any weight really. Coughing and sneezing were well, not very painful. They were somewhat painful. I mean, just kind of like a sharp pain, but it wasn't that bad. After about a week, I started eating ravioli, spaghettios, beefaroni. One of the best things that I found were steamed dumplings and those noodles that they make. They were good. Also, they said that like when the scabs start falling off at about, I don't know, like 4 days or a week out, that was also really painful. I didn't find that was too bad either. I mean, it was pretty much the same throughout the whole thing for me. I mean, I don't think it got better or worse up to when the scabs kind of fell off, and then after that it got pretty much better. I mean, it's been getting a lot better. I mean, I'd say I'm almost back to normal, and it's been maybe a month or so. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I hope that helps somebody out, and if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to do that. Yeah, thank you. Take care.